This episode of the Fire Alarm Insider is proudly brought to you by Secured Securities, your trusted partner in fire alarm and security solutions, protecting lives and businesses one system at a time. Most people think smoke detectors smell smoke, but they don't. They don't even have a nose. If you ever wanted how to understand how smoke detectors actually work, then this episode is for you. Because there are only two types of smoke detectors, and once you understand them, everything in the field makes a lot more sense. Every smoke detector falls into one of two categories. Either it's going to be an ionization or photoelectric. Here's some simple ways to remember the differences. An ion detects fast flames and fires, while a photo detects slow, smoldering smoke. Different fires behave differently and different detectors respond differently. That's not an opinion, that's just physics and it's real facts. In today's time, you'll see more photoelectric smoke detectors than ion detectors because we want a little more earlier detection. We don't want detection to happen when the fire's already starting, so we use photoelectric detectors so that way we can have a little bit more of an early warning. The smoldering stage, when the fire is actually building up in a smoke stage. So once the smoke starts increasing before it gets overheated to actually build up in the flames, we want to make sure we have photoelectric detection in place. So picture this. Inside the detector is a light beam and a sensor. Under normal conditions, a light never hit the sensor. When smoke enters inside of the chamber, it scatters that light. The moment the light hit the sensor, the detector says, hey, there's something wrong. Now I'm going to send this signal over the SLC loop via the fire alarm wires to the CPU of the fire alarm control panel to let them know that I am either in alarm, I am about to be in alarm, or I am in maintenance fault, or I'm in trouble, or some type of whatever the signal is, or whatever the event that the detector will determine about this environment is going to send that information over the wires so that way the CPU can display that. So if it's an alarm, the next step after that will be to activate the output so that way we can indicate there is some type of condition in this particular area. This episode of the Fire Alarm Insider is sponsored by the Fire Alarm Business Blueprint. If you're a seasoned technician looking to start your own fire alarm business, we have a 9-step course for you to take you from starting your business to getting your fire alarm license, marketing, and also getting money into your business. If this sounds like you, the link is in the show notes. Let's get back to the program. So this is why photo detectors are excellent for bedrooms, living spaces, hallways, office spaces, hoistways, elevator lobbies, machine rooms, and places like that. However, on the other side, ionization smoke works completely different. Inside the chambers are tiny electrical charged particles, and as long as the airflow normal, the charged particles stay stable. When combustion particles enter the chamber, they disrupt the electrical balance. The disruptions begin to trigger the alarm, and the ionization is fast, very fast. But in most cases, it's a lot more sensitive to cooking particles, steam, and also aerosol, because as long as those particles inside the chambers can move and disrupt the system on the inside of that smoke chamber, it's going to always think that is an alarm condition. So it's going to send that alarm over the wires to the CPU to display an alarm condition. So ionization is very fast. It's going to go into alarm a lot more frequent and is less used in today's times because like I said, we use photoelectric because we want a little bit more of an earlier detection. And if you want even a super early detection, then you could get into the aspirating device, which Vesda make, so that way you could actually monitor the environment and that smoke detection system will adjust according to the environment to reduce false alarms. But that is a totally different segment, and we could talk about that in another episode. Now, if this is making sense to you and you like Lethal Shooter and you understand it now, I want you to follow the show because this podcast exists to break the fire alarm fundamentals down in a way that you can actually use it, in a practical way that you can actually use and understand it. And if you're a technician that's still guessing on the type of detectors, share this with them so they can understand the different types of smoke detection and clear that confusion up. Now, smoke placement is very, very important. Placement is never random. It's very, very intentional. Kitchen produces particles, not fires. Hallways channel smoke. Bedrooms need early warnings. Mechanical spaces introduces airflow and dust. When detectors are placed without understanding how they work, false alarms may follow. If you have a smoke detector that's set for 30 feet spacing, then that means that smoke detector is required to detect smoke within 30 feet. Now, you cannot put a smoke detector too close to the corners of the wall. If you think of it like this, when the smoke is filling up, let's say a small room, in the corner pockets of the room, the smoke is not going to be in that area. So you will have to put the smoke detector minimum 4 inches away from that wall pocket, so that way it can still be able to sense smoke. Now, if you have smokes going down a corridor, there is a 0.7 rule. So the first smoke detector will be half the distance of the actual smoke detector spacing. So if it's 30 feet spacing, that first and last smoke detector will equal to 15 feet, and every smoke in between should be 30 feet in between, or 30 feet spacing. That is how you will make sure all of your smoke detectors are covering the entire space and whatever you put in these smoke detectors in. In the real world, whether it be residential or even a commercial environment, more often than not, you will be installing photo detectors. In most living spaces, especially in warehouses, in today's times, it's always going to be a photo, or if you want advanced smoke detection, you will use the aspirating smoke detection system. Why? Because most fires start slow, not explosive. So we need early detection. We need super early detection. So this is not theory. This is all coming based off experience. So the more you understand how smoke detectors work, how the fire alarm system work, how all these different input and output devices work together, the better you can actually install the system, save the building that is actually being installed in, get the fire department there in the time they need to get there to reduce or mitigate any damages to the building and get people out safely. So this episode of the Fire Alarm Insight is brought to you by Securit Security. Securit Securities presents you the perfect fire alarm install, from inception all the way down to installation to the one-time pass inspection with the fire department. If you're looking for the perfect install, click the link in the show notes to talk more. So I want you to follow for more fire alarm fundamentals that is explained in a very simple way. So share this with a technician who's looking to make more money in the business. So I want you to speak knowledge with confidence and understand where clarity lives, confidence goes. And a word with no voice is not a word at all. All right? Fire alarm expert out. I'll catch you in the next episode. Peace.